Hello, and welcome to episode number 2 of Ready to Move Abroad. Start with your mindset. And today I'm going to share with you another mindset shift that you will have to make in order to make your move abroad smoothly, confidently, and sustainably. Last time we spoke about perfectionism and how that can impact or derail your move abroad. And today I've got another one for you. My name is Patricia Brooks, and I am an American living here in the south of France and have been since 2018. And now I help people who are ready to make a move abroad confidently and sustainably so that they can finally start living their dream life wherever they choose to move. And on this channel, I talk about my life here in France, what it's like to live here, my experiences, and how to move beyond the barriers that keep you stuck living a life where you know there is more to it than you're experiencing. And today I'm talking about ready to move abroad, start with your mindset. And the topic today is misunderstanding what your block to making a move abroad is. Now, I often hear people say, oh, I really want to move abroad, but I just don't know where to start. And a move abroad is complex because it's not just moving to another state if you're living in the United States or to another city in the same state, because there are things that you just might not know about moving to a foreign country and other things that you have to actually take care of, like visas or getting residency cards, things that you don't have to do in your own country. And so that does make it a little bit more complicated. But at the end of the day, it's a move. And so there are certain things that you're going to need to take care of before you make that move. Downsizing your things, deciding what you're shipping, if you're going to ship at all, dealing with your current residence, if you're renting, ending the lease, if you own it, or you're going to sell it, or you're going to rent it out. Those things are the normal things that you have to take care of. And so those are some things you can start with. And so saying you don't know where to start can feel like something that's true. And there are some elements of that may be true. But there are things you can start doing right now that you know you can do. And so sometimes I hear that and I kind of think, oh, that may be code for something else. I want to share with you a story about one of my clients. And before I do that, I want to talk about one of the services that I offer because she was taking advantage of that. It's called Exit Strategy Planning. And for this service, my clients will fill in an intake form. I take out that information and then I create a personalized move abroad plan. I fill in the action steps they need to take. And then when we get on our first call, we talk about their timeline and when they need to start doing each of the tasks, right? So this client was a new client to me, and she had wanted to make a move abroad in 4 months' time. Now, that is a quick turnaround time, especially if you have a house full of stuff that you need to get rid of. The downsizing always takes longer than you anticipate, even when you have a good head start. So we were kind of working on a tight time frame. But at any rate, she completed her intake form. I took all of that information, put it into a project plan, and then we met. And we had a good conversation. She was honest about the fact that she had a ton of things that she needed to get rid of and that was going to be the long pole in the tent. But that she was ready to get down to business because September was coming and that's when she wanted to make her move abroad. So I'm like, okay. And I was very honest with her, telling her that this is really a tight turnaround time. Maybe considering a change of that date might be in order. And she's like, yeah, maybe, but let's use that for now. And we did. And so we sat down, went through the plan that I put together and talked about, okay, well, when are you going to take care of dealing with all of your stuff? And we were detailed, talked about, okay, what is the trigger going to be for you to start clearing out your attic? You know, what time of day are you going to do it? And what's going to be the thing that makes you say, oh, I need to be clearing out my attic? really working down to the fine details so that she could start to work her plan, create habits and triggers that would allow her to not waste the time and really get things done. And at the end of that conversation, I was feeling pretty good, and I think she was too. Now, the way that this exit strategy planning sessions work, usually we start with 2 sessions. If we need to add more, we can. And so at the end of that first one, we scheduled our follow-up one in 2 weeks' time, since her time frame was really short. She had her marching orders. She knew what she needed to do and by when. And she seemed very positive about it. Well, 2 weeks go by and we meet for our follow-up conversation. And unfortunately, not a whole lot was accomplished in that 2 weeks' time. I think maybe she did some work the following day on her plan, but nothing for 2 weeks really. And she's got this tight turnaround time. And so that to me signaled that it wasn't what she said in the beginning, that I just don't know where to start. I just need a plan, because sometimes a plan is not enough. And it turns out that what was blocking her wasn't the fact that she didn't know what the steps were that she needed to take. It was something deeper. And here I want to talk about blocks. When I went through coach training, I learned about internal blocks and external blocks. Now, external blocks are blocks. They keep you stuck slightly, but they don't have the hold on you that an internal block does. An external block is something that, like, oh, I don't know what steps to take in order to make what I want to make happen. Okay, what do? You go and hire a project manager, somebody like me, who can help you build that project plan, give you some dates, and, let you have at it. And then in 2 weeks' time, when we come back, you have made progress, you're ready to get your next marching orders, and you go from there. So it's something that an external block is something that you're not sure how to do, but there's no emotional charge. There's nothing internal that is keeping you from actually taking those steps. It's the lack of information or the lack of a resource. And once you have that resource, then you can go and take care of it. No problem. Nothing is in your way. An internal block is the opposite. It is something where there is an emotional charge. A lot of times it's a high emotional charge, and that external block or that reason, I just don't know where to start, is just a facade. So in this case, there was something deeper going on with my client who said she wanted to move abroad. And maybe there was some sort of fear around making this move, because moving to a foreign country is a big step. And so maybe the fear was the internal block, or perhaps maybe her partner who was moving abroad with her wanted to make this move abroad, and she wanted to, be supportive of her husband. And so her heart really wasn't in it. She didn't have a deep why. Maybe her husband did, but she didn't. Maybe that was the internal block. Maybe there were other internal blocks at play. But I share this story because when you recognize that sometimes the things that we say or sometimes the things that we think are holding us back are just something that covers up the real reason or the real cause for our inaction or our inability to reach what we want to achieve what we want to achieve. All right. So I'm going to stop here. I've shared a lot. Do you see some internal blocks or external blocks that you have that are causing you not to reach the goals that you have, whether it be move abroad or some other big goal that you have? Let me know in the comments. So what can you do when you realize that having a plan or not having a plan is not the thing that is holding you up? Well, I offer one-on-one coaching as well as group coaching that helps you to understand what your blocks are, if they're internal or external, and help you to create a plan so that you can work through those blocks and change your thought patterns, your habits, so that then you can move forward, be more motivated, and actually do what is necessary so that you can make your move abroad. All right. And I think a really good place to start is if you're not sure if you have an internal block or whether it's an external block, and you're telling yourself, I don't know where to start, I need a plan, that the exit strategy planning sessions are a good place to start, because maybe it is truly an external block that is keeping you stuck, and you just need the steps. And you just need to know when to do those things, and maybe a little bit of accountability to get the gears going. If it turns out to be something deeper, then we can shift gears and we can do one-on-one coaching to help move through any internal blocks that are holding you back. All right. One other thing I want to share before we go, because there are lots of different kinds of external and internal blocks. And sometimes I hear people say, well, I move abroad, but I just don't have the money. And that, on the surface, is truly an external block, right? If you want to move to France on a visitor visa, you need to show the French authorities that you have a certain amount of money to support yourself each and every year that you apply for this visitor visa. And if you fall below that threshold, then you're not going to be able to qualify for that visa, and in which case you're not going to be able to make your move to France, right? So that's a very real example of something that could be an external block. And the fix for the external block is, okay, I have, for example, say the requirement is 25,000 US dollars. This is just an example. Go to the website to find out what the actual amount is. And to be for sure. But for this example, say it's 25,000 US dollars. And now you know what you need to have. Now you look at your savings, you look at all the ways that you would be able to support yourself and see if that is $25,000 or more. And if it's not, what's the gap? And if there's a gap, okay, well, say you've got 20,000. How can you raise that other 5,000? Do you get a second job? Do you start a side hustle? Do you stop spending? Do you sell things? What are the things that you can do so that you can bridge that gap? And then go do it. Now, the tricky part here is if you find yourself saying, oh, well, I'm $5,000 or $10,000 or $15,000 short, whatever it is, and you create a plan to bridge that gap to raise that money, and you find yourself not doing it, then that is probably a sign that you have an internal block. There's something deeper. Is it fear? Is it a lack of belief that this is even possible for you, regardless of whatever the external block that you're telling yourself? And if that's the case, then one-on-one coaching could be for you. All right. So I just wanted to share this second episode with you. I know the last episode was a couple weeks ago. But this is a really important one, because sometimes the lack of a plan is not the problem. And making a move abroad is more than just logistics. And making a move abroad where you're happy living abroad is way more than just logistics. It's not an easy thing to do. So I just want to share another short story with you before I go. I got a message from a friend who recently moved to France about 8 or 9 months ago. And it was a video where there was this song about manifesting, and how it was an affirmation, and how when she watched that video, she thought of me. And it was lovely, because it made me think, oh my gosh, this is how she sees me. She sees me as somebody who is able to manifest her dreams. And in many ways I have, but in many ways there are still things that I'm working toward that I have not accomplished yet. And so I don't necessarily see myself there, but she saw me in that way. And I appreciated that. It made me feel really good. But I responded back to her. I said, oh, thank you so much. This makes me feel really good. But just want to let you know, I'm not quite there. And she responded, okay, I'll accept that, but you have come so far, and I recognize that. It is way harder than I ever thought making this move and living here in France ever would be, and I look up to you. And that made me feel really good. But that underscores the idea that it's not only about having the means to make a move abroad happen or knowing the logistical steps or getting help with the logistical steps. It's also about the inner work and the mindset that will allow you to make the move, make it happen initially, but then also to be resilient, to be the kind of person who is resourceful and who can think outside of the box and who can be patient and all those other things that go into settling into a new country with more ease and flow. All right. And I offer services to support that. So if you're interested in learning more about all the ways that I can help you, you can go to my newly revamped website, thecouragecatalyst.com, to find out more. Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with friends, subscribe, and I will see you again next time. Bye for now.